Coming home from a cruise will mess with your brain in ways nobody warns you about. I'm talking full-on psychological warfare that hits every single person who steps off that ship. You think you're ready for normal life again? Think again. Your house will feel like it's moving. Your wallet will cry actual tears, and you'll find yourself desperately craving the worst buffet food known to humanity at 2 a.m. Here are 10 weird things that always, and I mean always, happen after a cruise. From financial shock that'll make you question every life choice, to missing terrible announcements about towel animals, to your shower suddenly feeling like a luxury mansion, but somehow still disappointing you. Trust me, if you've ever been on a cruise, you'll relate to every single one of these. And if you haven't, well, consider this your official warning about what's waiting for you on the other side of that gangway. You walk through your front door, and immediately something feels wrong. You grab the wall. Wait, is your house moving? You take another step, and nope, definitely swaying. Congratulations, you've got land sickness, and it's about to become your new worst enemy. This isn't some rare condition that affects a few unlucky souls. This happens to literally everyone who spends more than 3 days on a ship. Your inner ear has spent a week adjusting to constant motion, and now solid ground feels like the most unnatural thing in the world. You'll find yourself reaching for furniture that isn't moving, feeling dizzy in your own hallway, and genuinely convinced your house has somehow developed sea legs. The worst part? It doesn't just last a few hours. We're talking days, sometimes up to a week, of feeling like you're still bobbing around in the middle of the ocean. You'll lie in bed at night, missing that gentle rocking motion, while simultaneously feeling nauseous because your brain can't figure out why everything stopped moving. Sleep becomes this weird challenge where you're too still and too motion sick at the same time. Give your inner ear time to recalibrate. Stay hydrated, avoid alcohol for the first day back, and try to get some fresh air. Most importantly, don't make any important decisions while you're still walking like you're on deck during rough seas. But wait until you see what happens when you check your credit card statement. 2 weeks later, your cruise credit card bill arrives and you nearly faint. $47 for 3 photos where you look like deer in headlights. $200 for free drinks that were supposed to be included in your beverage package, except apparently not those drinks, or those times, or when you forgot to show your card. Here's the thing nobody tells you about cruise economics. Everything feels free when you're floating in international waters with a plastic card around your neck. Shore excursions, specialty restaurants, that cute t-shirt that says "Ship Happens," it all just gets charged to your room like Monopoly money. You're living in this weird bubble where money doesn't feel real because you're not physically handing over cash. Then reality hits harder than a rogue wave. Those reasonable $15 cocktails, you had 47 of them. That quick spa treatment turned into a $300 relaxation package because the masseuse was very convincing and you were very relaxed. The photo package that seemed expensive at $199, well, you bought it anyway. Plus the individual shots, plus the USB drive, plus the printed album you'll never look at. Set a realistic budget before you cruise and actually stick to it. Consider prepaying for everything you can. Most importantly, remember that included doesn't mean free, it means you already paid for it. Speaking of reality hitting hard, let's talk about your new food obsession. It's 2 a.m. and you're standing in your kitchen, staring into your well-stocked refrigerator, and all you want is that mediocre pizza from Deck 14 and soft-serve ice cream that tasted like vanilla-flavored sadness. This makes no sense. You have actual good food, fresh ingredients, a kitchen that doesn't smell like industrial, cleaning supplies, and desperation. But here's the twisted psychology of cruise dining. Availability beats quality every single time. On that ship, you could get pizza at 3 a.m., ice cream for breakfast, and burgers while getting a massage. The buffet was this magical place where calories didn't count, meal times didn't exist, and you could eat chocolate cake while watching someone else make your salad. Your brain got addicted to the instant gratification and endless options. Now you're home with your fancy organic vegetables and artisanal bread, and it feels like work. You have to plan meals, cook things, clean up afterward. Where's the guy who made you a custom omelet while you stood there in your pajamas? Where's the soft-serve machine that never judged your life choices? This craving isn't about the food, It's about the service, the convenience, and the complete absence of food-related responsibility. You miss being fed like a very pampered, slightly drunk toddler. Recognize this for what it is: withdrawal from being completely catered to. It'll pass, but maybe keep some ice cream in the freezer for emergencies. But the next weird effect will mess with your hearing in the strangest way. Good morning, this is your captain speaking. Your house is too quiet, weirdly, unsettlingly quiet. Where are the hourly updates about towel animals? Who's telling you what time the art auction starts? How do you know if you're missing something important without someone interrupting your day every 15 minutes? For a week, you lived in a world of constant communication. The captain told you good morning every day at 8 a.m. sharp. Someone announced dinner seating, pool activities, port information, and weather updates whether you wanted to hear them or not. Your day had a rhythm, a structure, a voice guiding you through every decision. Now you're home, and the silence feels wrong. You catch yourself checking your phone obsessively, wondering if you missed an announcement about something, anything. Your brain got used to being told what to do, when to do it, and what exciting activities you should be participating in right now. Without that constant stream of information, you feel disconnected and vaguely anxious. The ship's PA system became your external brain, and now you have to remember things like mealtimes and entertainment schedules all by yourself. It's exhausting. You miss being infantilized by cheerful crew staff who treated you like you couldn't figure out basic life functions without their help. This dependence on external structure will fade as you readjust to making your own decisions about when to eat, sleep, and be entertained. The next weird effect hits your personal space in the most confusing way. You step into your home bathroom and it feels like a luxury spa. The shower is enormous. You could do yoga in here. You could host a small party. How did you ever think this bathroom was small? Then you turn on the water and, wait, that's it. Where's the pressure? Why does this feel so disappointing when it's objectively better than what you had on the ship? This is the cruise perspective effect in full swing. You spent a week in a bathroom the size of a phone booth with a shower that required careful choreography to avoid elbowing the toilet while shampooing. You mastered the art of washing your hair while bent at a 45-degree angle, and somehow convinced yourself it was cozy rather than claustrophobic. Now your normal-sized bathroom feels palatial by comparison, but your expectations are completely scrambled. The ship's shower had amazing water pressure, probably because the tiny space concentrated every drop. And now your regular shower feels weak and unsatisfying. You've got all this space, but somehow the experience feels lesser. Your brain is trying to process luxury space and disappointment performance simultaneously. You're grateful for the room to move around while mourning the hydraulic efficiency of maritime engineering. It's like missing a studio apartment after staying in a mansion with bad plumbing. Give yourself time to readjust to normal water pressure and appreciate having enough room to drop soap without it disappearing into another dimension. Quick note, if you're relating to any of these weird post-cruise effects, hit that like button so I know I'm not the only one who goes through this cruise withdrawal madness. Quick note, if you're nodding along to these weird post-cruise effects, smash that like button and subscribe so you never miss tips for dealing with cruise withdrawal again. All right, let's keep going, because the next 5 effects get even weirder, and number 1 will completely mess with your head. You approach your front door and your hand automatically goes to your chest, fumbling for that familiar lanyard that isn't there. You stand there for a solid 5 seconds, confused about how to get into your own house. Where's the little plastic card? Why doesn't this door have a sensor? How do these metal things work again? For a week, that key card was your lifeline. Room access, meal payments, bar tabs, even getting back on the ship. Everything ran through that little piece of plastic hanging around your neck. You probably touched it unconsciously hundreds of times per day, checking it was still there, making sure you hadn't lost your entire cruise existence. Now you're home fumbling with actual keys like some kind of primitive human. You'll catch yourself reaching for that phantom lanyard for weeks, at hotels, at work, even at friends' houses. Your muscle memory is convinced that doors should respond to plastic cards worn as jewelry. You've been temporarily reprogrammed to expect magical door-opening powers from a piece of plastic smaller than a credit card. The worst part? Regular keys suddenly feel like an unnecessarily complicated system. Why do you need multiple keys? Why do they have to be turned? Why can't you just wave something near the door and walk through like a civilized person? Keep your keys easily accessible and give your muscle memory time to remember pre-cruise life. Maybe consider a keychain that feels similar to that lanyard weight. It might help with the transition. But this next one ruins your sleep in the weirdest possible way. Night one back home, you lie in your perfectly still bed, in your quiet room, and you can't fall asleep. Something's wrong. Everything's too stable, too silent. Where's the gentle rocking? Where are the muffled sounds of people walking in the hallway above you? Why does your bed feel like it's anchored to the ground? This is the cruelest irony of cruise life. You spent the first night on the ship feeling slightly seasick, maybe a little disoriented by the motion. By day 3, your body had adapted completely. By the end of the week, that gentle swaying became the most soothing sensation in the world. Better than any white noise machine, more relaxing than any meditation app. Your inner ear and nervous system got addicted to that rhythmic motion, the subtle creaking of the ship, the distant hum of engines, even the occasional footsteps in the hallway became your personal lullaby. Sleep came easily because your body was being gently rocked like a very large, very expensive baby. Now you're in your stationary bed, in your silent house, and your brain is actively looking for motion that isn't there. You'll toss and turn, maybe even feel slightly motion sick from the complete lack of movement. Some people report lying awake for hours, genuinely missing the feeling of floating on the ocean. Try a white noise app with ocean sounds or even a gentle rocking motion in a recliner for the first few nights. Your body needs time to remember how to sleep on solid ground. The next effect messes with your social life in the most contradictory way. You miss the energy, the constant buzz of thousands of people around you. But you also never want to make small talk with a stranger again for the rest of your life. You're craving human connection while simultaneously hiding from your own neighbors. Welcome to post-cruise social confusion. On the ship, you were part of this weird temporary community. You made friends with people at your dinner table, chatted with bartenders who remembered your drink order, high-fived kids in the pool, and had actual conversations with strangers in elevators. For a week, you were this socially confident version of yourself who could strike up conversations with anyone about anything. The energy was infectious. Thousands of people in vacation mode, everyone happy, relaxed, open to connection. You probably exchanged social media info with people you'd normally never talk to, promised to keep in touch with couples from 3 states away, and genuinely felt like you'd made real connections. Now you're home, and the silence feels oppressive, but the thought of forcing conversation with your actual neighbors makes you want to hide in your house forever. You miss the cruise bubble where everyone was automatically friendly, but you're exhausted by the memory of 7 days of constant social performance. Your brain is trying to process missing a social environment that was completely artificial while craving authentic connections that feel too difficult to make. Give yourself permission to be antisocial for a few days while you readjust to normal social rhythms. Those cruise friendships were lovely but temporary. Don't feel guilty if they don't translate to real life. But nothing prepares you for this spatial confusion. You walk into your living room and it feels massive. How did you ever think this space was small? You could fit your entire cruise cabin in just this one room. But then you sit down and somehow it also feels cramped. Claustrophobic, wrong. This makes absolutely no sense, but here you are, confused by your own house. This is your brain trying to process 2 completely different spatial experiences simultaneously. For a week, you lived in roughly 150 square feet, total. Your entire world was a room smaller than most people's master bedroom. You learned to be comfortable in tiny spaces, to appreciate efficiency over luxury, to find coziness in what would normally feel cramped. Now you're home in your normal-sized house, and your spatial perception is completely scrambled. Everything looks huge by comparison, but it doesn't feel freeing. It feels overwhelming. You got used to having everything within arm's reach, to being able to cross your entire living space in 3 steps. Now you have to walk to different rooms for different things, like some kind of mansion-dwelling aristocrat. But simultaneously, your house feels restrictive because it's landlocked, stationary, permanent. On the ship, your tiny room was part of a floating city with decks and restaurants and entertainment, just an elevator ride away. Now your bigger house feels isolated, disconnected from the excitement that was always just outside your cabin door. Your brain needs time to readjust to normal spatial relationships and remember why you chose this house in the first place. And the number one weirdest thing creates the ultimate psychological paradox. Here's the ultimate cruise paradox. You're simultaneously browsing cruise deals online while telling anyone who'll listen that you're never doing this again. You're bookmarking Caribbean itineraries while complaining about seasickness. You're reading cruise reviews while swearing off buffets forever. This cognitive dissonance happens to almost everyone, and it's fascinating to watch your own brain work against itself. The rational part of you remembers the crowds, the small cabin, the overpriced drinks, the exhaustion of trying to cram 7 destinations into 7 days. You have legitimate complaints and valid reasons why cruising isn't for you. But there's another part of your brain that's already romanticizing the experience. The sunset from Deck 12, the way you felt completely disconnected from work stress, the magic of waking up somewhere new every morning without packing a suitcase, the convenience, the simplicity, the way all your decisions were made for you for an entire week. You'll find yourself defending cruises to people who criticize them, then immediately listing all the reasons you'll never cruise again. You miss it while hating it. You crave it while dreading it. It's like missing an ex who you know was wrong for you, but who made you feel really good about yourself for a while. This is cruise addiction in its purest form. Your logical brain fighting with your vacation brain about whether floating cities full of endless food and entertainment are actually a good idea. The answer is probably yes, and you'll probably book another one within 6 months while telling yourself it's completely different this time. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, you've definitely experienced some of these weird post-cruise effects yourself. Type land legs in the comments if you're still feeling like your house is swaying, or let me know which of these hit you the hardest. And if you want more cruise tips, tricks, and reality checks, click that subscribe button and check out my video on cruise scams everyone falls for. Trust me, it'll save you money on your next floating vacation that you're definitely not planning, but probably are. Until next time, keep your sea legs and your sanity.